There's a Radiolab episode about a woman who studies language. She's a professor. And she studies languages and inflected languages like Chinese, where if you say something with a different tone, then it means a completely different thing. And she was editing one of her lectures one time, and she accidentally put a short phrase on a loop. And that loop went for a little while without her turning it off. And I think that was the phrase was "sometimes behaves so strangely." As I just said, "sometimes behaves so strangely" over and over again. And as she was listening to it over and over, suddenly it had a melody to it. It went, "sometimes behaves so strangely." And that was just her speaking voice. Language has a music to it. It has a melody, but you don't really hear it until you repeat the same thing over and over again. So I had this poem about my friend who had passed away of her own free will, and it was just a poem, but I thought, I'm going to try that, and I would say each line of the poem over and over and over again until the melody emerged. And finally, the song came out with a melody that I never could have written at a piano or on the guitar or by just thinking about it. I had to hear into the language and see what it sounded like. So here we go. This is Goodbye. The last time I saw my father, we did not say goodbye. We said, "So long, I'll see you." We knew it was a lie. For among the things I loved the most was his optimistic way. And we had to let our eyes express what our voices could not say. What our voices could not say. I said goodbye to you today. I drove away and cried. From grief or awe, I couldn't tell. It's hard to feel the tragedy when you lived and died so well. When you lived and died so well. And how lucky am I to get to say goodbye. How lucky am I to get to say goodbye. That's goodbye. Thank you. My memory is not my distant memory is not a series of videos. It's a series of photographs. I can reconstruct the rest of the scene and how it moved and how it was in my imagination as a story, but all of that starts to take on the aspect of the stories I tell about the memory. But the memories themselves are like just nothing but one frame out of that video the rest of it is all attached to. And the frame I remember from my father that has to do with that song is of me at the door, ready to leave for my plane flight, and the eye contact that we made across the room, and the amount of emotion and power in that eye contact I'll never forget. In fact, it's not even the whole room. It's just a vignette down onto his face, and I can see his eyes, and I can see the level of communication that we were engaging in, even though we couldn't say the same thing in words, and neither one of us could possibly bring ourselves to admit that it might be the last time we saw each other, and it was.